Hey Brambleton, it's Miss Couse, and April is National Poetry Month, so I wanted to share with you some of my favorite novel and verse recommendations that you can access through Libby, Hoopla, or Mac and Via, somewhere online, so that you can celebrate National Poetry Month with me. I love novels in verse because they're really quick to read, and they tell a story in kind of a different way. You still get the story with the plot where you have a beginning, a middle, and an end, but each poem connects together to tell that story. So it's something a little bit different. An example of a novel in verse that you probably know is The Crossover by Kwame Alexander. It's one of the most popular books at the Brambleton Middle School Library. We have so many copies and it's always checked out. It's about two brothers and they're on the basketball team at their school as they try to get their team to the championship during their 8th grade year. Their father experiences some health problems that really hurts their family during that year. So it's a great book. A lot of you have already read it and have even read the second book booked as well. So if you like that book, then you'll probably find one in this list of books that I'm going to tell you about today that you might like. For example, one of my favorites, my most favorite novels in verse is this one. It's called, can you see it? It's called A Long Way Down by Jason Reynolds. And this book does have a difficult subject matter. It's about a boy named Will whose brother was murdered. And Will feels like he needs to avenge his brother's death. So the whole book takes place in about 2 minutes as Will is going down the elevator in his apartment building to seek his revenge for his brother. And on the way, he gets stopped on each floor and he meets with a ghost that is somehow connected to his brother. And they make him question his desire for revenge. So this book has an amazing ending, but it's one of those endings that I really think needs to be discussed. So if you decide to read this book, send me an email. We now have video chats that are available that you can sign up for on the library website. Get in contact with me because I want to hear what you think about the ending. Another book that I really love, that's probably my second favorite novel in verse, is the book House Arrest by K.A. Holt. And this is a book about a boy named Timothy who is keeping a journal about his frustrations and his anger and all of his thoughts while he's under house arrest, meaning he can't leave his house. And the reason that he can't leave is because he stole a credit card. And the book continues to develop as you learn why, and how you feel about that is, I think, part of what makes the book so great. Another book that I recently read, it's a Virginia Reader's Choice book for this year that I wasn't sure I was going to like, but I ended up really enjoying, is a book called Gamechanger, and this is by Tommy Greenwald. This is a book about a boy named Teddy who is a freshman football player on his high school team, and he is in the hospital. He's fighting for his life at the beginning of the book. And as his family and friends gather around while Teddy is in the coma, rumors start to spread that maybe the injury that caused Teddy to be in the hospital wasn't actually an accident. So there's a little bit of a mystery as you try to figure out what happened on that day that put Teddy into the hospital. It was really good. Another book that I recently read that I loved was called Paper Hearts, and this would be a recommendation I have for my 7th graders who recently finished their historical fiction unit. This is a historical fiction book that is a fictionalized account that is based on true events of women that lived in the Auschwitz-Birkenau concentration camp during World War II. And these women form a friendship. They all work in the ammunitions factory, and it's their friendship that helps them survive the terrible things that they went through at that concentration camp. And they have a symbol that holds them together, a paper heart. So it's a beautiful story. If you liked the book Prisoner B3807, then I would highly recommend this book. I think you'd like that. You'd like Paper Hearts as well. And then the final book that I have to recommend is the book called The Poet X by Elizabeth Acevedo. And this is a book that I listened to. It's available on Hoopla, and it's read by the author, and she has an amazing voice, and the rhythm of the poetry is very engaging as I listen to it. So I would highly recommend that you listen to this one as an audiobook. And it's about a girl named Ziamara who doesn't feel like she fits in anywhere. She hasn't been getting along with her mother. She feels like she and her twin brother are growing apart, and she finally finds a place in her school's slam poetry club. But the problem is, the poetry club happens at the same time that she's supposed to be at this mandatory event for her church. So she lies to her mother and to her church to be able to go to this club, and of course somebody finds out, to disastrous results. So Ziamara really has to fight to tell her story, and it's done in this really cool poetic form. I really liked it. But these are just some of the books that I've read recently, the novels in verse that I really liked. There are so many more, and part of the reason I picked these ones particularly is because they're available on Mackinvia, Hoopla, or Libby, and I will make sure that I link down below where you can find these books. There are tons of other really great novels in verse though, and I do have another link to the Brambleton Library catalog where we have a whole list of books that are novels in verse that you can take a look at. I realize you can't check them out right now, but you can search for those books in our online accessibility to books, and hopefully you'll be able to find something you like. Of course, you're always welcome to email me and ask me for a recommendation if you haven't found something you want to read. And like I said before, we do have video chats available now. So if you go to the Brambleton Library webpage and you click on the distance learning feature, we have links where you can sign up for an appointment to video chat with me or Mrs. Larson, and we can chat about books anytime. So hopefully you find something you want to read to celebrate Poetry Month, and happy reading, my friends. Bye.